And we're on the table and we're painting the Hulk. Hulk smash. I'm going to use Warpstone Glow for the base color. My paints are fairly thinned down, that's why you can't see me thinning them down, because I transfer them to the dropper bottles. And now we're going to slowly do the base color for the model. I'm going to do first the leg, so you can see what I'm planning to do all around, and then I'm going to speed up most of the process, and at least you can see which parts, how I've done them, not only to see only one part like this leg, and I magically paint the whole model. It will take a little bit longer, but hopefully it will be educational for you. Or you're going to delete my channel from your existence. Basic base colors are done for this leg at least. You can see I'm trying to be careful not to mess up the pants, because it's going to be another color, but that's okay. Now we're going to use Incubi Darkness, and while the paint is still wet, the base color is still wet actually, we're going to do the shadows. Now since it's wet, it's going to blend in nicely. You're going to have to come back at some points, adding more, let's say, Warpstone Glow, and add shadows where you think they will be. It's always nice, let's say, put it under the lamp, the model, and you see approximately where the highlights should be. This. During the video, I'm going to speed up the whole process about 800%, just so you can see everything, and so it doesn't take 5 hours to paint the model. To be honest, this model was probably 1 hour to paint, and you can see that while I'm adding slowly the Warpstone Glow, I'm also adding Incubi Darkness, mixing it in at some points, just to shade the whole model. Now, while the whole paint job is still wet, we're going to come back again with Incubi Darkness, and then just define more the shadows. This is for myself the base coating process of mine, so I can introduce different colors into the model, and then later we're going to do standard highlighting and glazing and everything, just to fix some stuff that we're not happy with. Again, speeding up the whole process. I'm going to also, you can see later I didn't slow down for this, to use Incubi Darkness just to paint also the hair of the Hulk, since I already was planning to paint it Incubi Darkness. Now that we're finished with the main colors, now we're going to come back with Warpstone Glow and just fix up a little bit. You can see now I'm reintroducing it back, like a second layer of it, and then we're going to clean up everything up. You can see I'm still using a fairly large brush for this. It speeds up the whole process of painting, and more paint can be in the brush, in the, how do you say, throat. Is it throat or the body of the brush? I don't know the technical word, English word for it. And you can see I'm re-highlighting all the raised edges where I think highlights should be. Fixing it a little bit. But this is far from doing the highlights. Like you can see I'm defining more the muscles now. Coming back if I'm not happy with it, adding more. Now this will be the first highlight of the green. And again we're going to slowly paint the muscles, leaving a little bit of the previous layer. If your paint is fairly thinned down, you won't have like a big difference in layers. For the face, you can see I'm adding a little bit on the nose, brows, cheeks, just to define the main parts that will be hit on the. And I'm coming back and forth with the paint. It's a fairly longer process for when you're mixing paints and highlighting like this. Now we're going to add more yellow to the mix. So we can define more his green color. I'm still using the big brush, and here I made a mistake. I took a smaller brush, and just feathered it out, and you can see it's nicely done. You can always do this. It's like, I think it's called two brush blending, something like that. While the other, with one you paint and the other one you can just fix all your, let's say, mistakes or whatever. You can see I'm coming back from time to time with the smaller brush, fixing stuff if I'm not happy with them. But again, defining all the muscles, coming back. Since it's fairly thin, the more you come back, the more it will be brighter. I don't know if that's the correct word. And I'm again defining more muscles, going more towards the highlight. This is the third mixing. Well, just brightening it up even more, but each highlight is less surface painted. But my explanations are horrible. Sorry about that. You can see I'm defining the muscles. This is still, how to say, still the beginning. I'm still going to shade the model, still going to do the final highlights. I'm just defining at the moment all the muscle parts. And on the face, like I said, nose, brow, cheekbones. These are the parts that always brightest and make your model stand out. Ooh. This is too fast. Maybe not. Leave a comment below if you think it's too fast for you, or if my explanations are bad at all, or if they're even good. You can see I'm coming back and forth, painting, redefining the muscles. This is all. You can even stop at the couple of like the first highlight, but I wanted it like more saturated look, more brighter look. Now that we've finished with highlights, we're going to glaze the shadows. We're going to darken up the small parts again. Well, at this point you have to be careful not to have pooling of paint, because that will give you staining and everything. And you can see I'm adding shadows, more shadows underneath him. This will also blend a little bit of the colors. You can see it's defining more the muscles now. Speed up time. You can see I'm coming back and forth. You can do this in a couple of layers. Wait for it to dry, but I'm always impatient, so I have to rush it. You can even use, without glazing, you can use directly the paint and just use the two-brush blending technique to feather it out. More or less, you can see the muscles are being defined now, much better. Also on the face, I'm going to add a little bit. You see I'm coming back and forth all the time. Now we're going to add more fine brown glaze. I like to do this on the green models. Green skin gives a little bit more life to it. Again, you have to be careful with this not to pool. Thin layers is the best. Depending on you have to come back a couple of times while it's drying. The more you put, the more layers, glazes you put, the more the brown will show. But this is optional, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. I just like to add it. For me, it's a little bit, looks better. Might be wrong. Leave a comment below. And I'm coming back, since I'm doing the whole model, as I'm doing the one part, the other part is slowly already drying, which is nice. Or if you're not impatient, you can also have a hairdryer beside you and then paint each layer. Now we're going to come back with Warpstone Glow and do the final highlighting. And this will be more finer, cleaner. You can see I'm already having a smaller brush now. And you can paint it like this, small. This is like his vein or something like that. But the muscles, you can paint, like you can see I'm just doing small lines to make an imitation of, like muscle fibers or whatever, and slowly go each muscle, and you can see it's already giving a nice result. See on all the top parts, and this depends on you how much you will add. I wanted him like this, so painting him like this. That was a great explanation why I painted him like this. Jesus fuck. Same thing with when you come to the face. See, I'm defining the nose, the brows, the cheekbones, and that's it concerning paint. Now we're going to do the hair. We're going to use white. I'm going to use titanium white, but you can use any brand and mix it with a little bit with Incubi Darkness, and then we're going to slowly define all the hairs on his ugly ass head. Coming back and forth. I'm going to be adding for the final highlights a little bit more white, and then just do on a couple of places just to define the hair a little bit. This is optional, of course. Now we're going to start with basic color. Basic color of Xerxes Purple, my most favorite paint to to pronounce. And we're slowly painting it up. Now, while we're doing this 2 layers on this one, and while the second layer is drying, we're going to wet blend a little bit of black into it just to define the shadows. Now we're going to add a little bit of titanium white to the purple, and then you can see that the paint is still fairly a little bit wet, and we're going to wet blend the new layer in just to highlight all the raised edges. You can see I'm mainly focusing on the top parts of the wall. Again, adding more highlights. This will be more concentrated on parts. But you can see I'm still using a fairly big brush. And highlighting a little bit more the trousers. Now that it's fairly dry, I'm going to add more titanium white to the mix, and then with a smaller brush just do the final edge highlighting on the model. Hopefully you'll see. I'm just doing edge highlighting all over. Small lines just to define the edges on the trousers. It's very hard to record this part, especially if you're not paying attention too much at recording, but you can see that I'm just doing small lines just to define a little bit of the trousers. Now my worst enemy, doing the eyes. You can see I'm bracing my finger on my other finger so it's more steady. And I'm going to make a mistake. Use a little bit of water or spit just to clean it up. And the second one. Then we're going to, you can see I'm cleaning it up a little bit all the time. Then I'm going to do all the teeth. And this is the fun part, not to mess up everything. I'm used to doing it like this. You could actually paint the whole teeth white and then wash it with something if it's easier for you. I like to do it like this. I like to torture myself. And now I'm going to do how is it, the black dot with the eye, which I always mess up, and this video I actually didn't do anything, so actually turned out very good, which is a surprise. Now we're doing the base. The base is mechanical standard day, watered down a lot, and we're going to actually like a wash and paint all over the original base. Not original, well, base. Paint over the base. Gosh. Oh, English is not good. I'm going to go paint, and now that it's painted, I'm going to clean up the brush and then slowly start cleaning, removing the paint. And I can see it's doing back and forth, cleaning the brush, maybe using a little bit of your finger, and then you get that worn out thing, concrete look. Now I'm going to use titanium white or any white you want, and just do a little bit of dry brushing on all the base, just to define the edges, a little bit of the sand. Now that that's finished, we're going to use Tasgo fur to paint up the bricks. Brickwork. This you can paint it like this, you can paint it in different colors, there are different colored bricks. I like the red, it just contrasts nicely with the Hulk itself, so for me it looks better. Paint all the bricks all around. Now the bricks themselves are not part of the original model, this was added because I didn't like the standard base. I'm going to add a little bit of titanium white to the mix. Just to highlight it a little bit fast, just to give a little bit more color to the bricks themselves. And when we're done with that, we're going to take a dry brush, dip it in a little bit of white, and then with the Tasgo fur, and then do a fast dry brush on all the bricks. Last thing we're going to do is, well, not last thing, we're going to do the manhole cover or whatever that is. We're going to add a little bit of Morphin browns to simulate rust. And then you can see I'm moving it around a little bit. And then I'm going to use titanium white just to highlight some certain parts. Just small lines, just to define the edges. Put a little bit of dots here and there, and that's it. And the final part of this tutorial is paint the trim black or whatever color you want, and that's it, more or less. You can see the finished model, finished result. The last thing we're going to do is varnish the model, and then take it on the paint on the table and do some smashing. And we finished the Hulk. Don't know what else to say. I know the commentary wasn't great, camera work was even worse. Leave a comment below. Tell some crap about me, no, wouldn't mind. Subscribe to my channel if you really like the tutorial and you would like to see more. Hit the bell button, hit the like, maybe it will help. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Stay calm.